Are you sick of living in the shadow with someone else? Need some help learning to love yourself and tap into your unique strengths, or embrace your leadership potential so you can thrive in your life? This is Empower with Nancy. Let's start the show. Oh.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Empower with Nancy's podcast. This is a powerful episode today. I have an inspiring and incredible guest whose journey will leave you feeling empowered and uplifted. I welcome Gary Heyer, CEO and founder of HeyerPower Wellness. Gary is a remarkable individual who has faced a challenging journey of cancer head-on and emerged victory. He shares inspiring stories of resilience, hope, and unwavering determination. Get ready to be moved, motivated, and reminded of an incredible strength that lies with us all. Welcome, Gary, to my podcast.
Oh, Nancy, thank you for the incredible introduction.
You're welcome. You really, gosh, how long have we known each other? It's been like 4 years, maybe?
I was going to say 4 or 5 years, maybe.
5 years.
Right,
mm-hmm. Right. And I remember when I met you because Nicholas Long introduced me to you. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, you know what? I am going to reach out to Gary. And the inspiring stories in when you started your juicing and your business, and you came to my home, we sat down, it was just so welcoming. Like I felt like I've known you forever. And you have a special place in my heart because I saw you fight through this whole journey, and it was so inspiring. And as I told you, I lost my mom of breast cancer when I was 17, and going through that as a young kid, that was in itself was tough, but to see the journey of the fight and the power, the strength for you and your wife and your daughter has been absolutely amazing. So I'm not going to steal that story. I want you to tell us a story. So let's get started and have fun and just have an organic podcast interview here.
Absolutely.
So Gary, can you take us back to the moment you received your diagnosis? What were your initial thoughts and emotions?
Wowzer, that's a big one. So my original diagnosis was 3 days before Christmas in 2017. I had found out that I had some blood in my stool and urine because I had peed in the toilet one night and I didn't flush it. I'm colorblind, so I never picked up that I was peeing and pooping blood. Thank God I didn't flush that toilet that night, because it prompted my wife to fill me in on what she had found. She saw a hint of pink in there that might have been blood. So that led to a series of tests. And that 3 days before Christmas, on December 22nd, I did a colonoscopy where they found a 10.5 centimeter tumor in my colon rectum area. And they found another one that was up higher in my colon. And my doctor, as I'm waking up from my colonoscopy, he said, "Gary, you do have cancer. It's definitely stage 1. I would imagine by the size of this that it has probably gone elsewhere. So I advise that we do a CT scan right away." And fortunately, at that time, the radiologist had stuck around. They were kind of closing. It was later in the day. And so they promised to stick around and read the scans for me so we can get some results that night. And so I went in, I did the CT scan, and my immediate family was with me, and we went off to have a little bit of dinner. I hadn't eaten all day. And so I'm sitting at the restaurant, and I get this call from the hospital. And so I excuse myself from the table, and I'm outside this restaurant. There's just these big glass windows that you could see into the restaurant. And I'm sitting there looking at my family and my 10-year-old daughter, and everybody's in there they knew I had left. A couple of them, they're kind of like looking over their shoulder to see what's going on. And on the other end of that call was this doctor. And this doctor went on to tell me that I had stage 4 colorectal cancer. I had 26 tumors in my body. And that doctor said that there was a good probability that I probably only had about 6 months to live, And so I was devastated. 41 years old, 10-year-old daughter, young family, and I had just quit my career to go all in on a business that my wife and I developed. I partnered up with Nick Long on that business venture. So he and I, we agreed, and I had quit my career, and I went all in. And now here, 30 days later, I'm getting diagnosed with a disease that supposedly was going to take me in 6 months. So Nancy, I was devastated. I was so scared. I had so much fear going on, so many questions, so much anger, all the things, all the negative emotions that one can possibly take on at one time. It was all happening, and it was really difficult to handle. So we got through the holidays, and that was difficult because we held it from some parts of the family so we can get through the holidays without dealing with that. And I hadn't told my daughter yet. We didn't want to ruin the holidays for her. But once the new year came, it was time to get to work. And so it gave me some time to process. And I just made a clear decision that I was going to fight. I was going to do whatever it took. And I was going to find the best help that I could find. And that's what led me ultimately to start treatment over at City of Hope, which is where
phenomenal hospital.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal hospital. Great resources, great doctors. Like when you're talking about cancer research facilities, City of Hope is probably the top of the conversation, and along with some others across the country. But out here in California, there's really second to none with City of Hope, and so I was very fortunate to be able to go there. They're a major part of saving my life, and everything that we're about to talk about in this conversation. I don't want to talk down on that at all. I mean, there's a huge gift in Western medicine and the technology and the access to be able to take a look inside, and the surgeries and even the chemotherapy and radiation and stuff. But there's limitations there. And I discovered this over the first year of my fight, because I didn't know all this stuff. This HeyerPower Wellness thing wasn't here. I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't being led this way in the hospital. I had to figure it out. And HeyerPower kind of started out as a hashtag to root me on. And then as my story unfolded and I was taking on, Western medicine, chemotherapy, radiation, prescription drugs, major surgeries, all that stuff, you saw, and a lot of people started seeing my story unfold. And I started implementing more natural modalities, starting with just like the simplest thing, water. And not just drinking more water, but drinking specific water, and a lot of it, and that kind of snowballed into juicing and nutrition and all the other things. So the story's been a wild roller coaster, but it's been an amazing journey that's led me to this point now, 6 years later, after that fateful day that my doctor, or a doctor, I'm not even going to call her my doctor because she was the diagnosing doctor, but I stopped going to her after that point. But she gave me 6 months to live, and here I am 6 years later. I believe I'm cancer-free, and I am stronger and healthier than I've ever been in my life. And I'm leading a lot of other people to a better reality in this cancer fight, but I'm also leading a lot of people that aren't fighting cancer to better realities as well, because we're all pounding our body with things that our body was never meant or designed to take on in the foods that we have access to, the drinks that we have access to. So all these things, and it's just, we're seeing a rise in obesity and cancer and heart disease and diabetes and hypertension and all these chronic illnesses, autoimmune disorders, all kinds of ADHD, ADD, all these things. And it has a lot to do with what we're shoving in our mouth, from food to prescription drugs and all the above.
And it's so true, so powerful, especially when COVID hit, where everyone was working from home or staying at home, and you're sitting, you're not exercising. And what's powerful about, what I do as an empowering coach is a lot to do with ourselves. Like, we control our lives, we control our destiny. Now, there's things that come up that we have no control over, right? It's part of life. Yeah. But getting through the journey that you went through, you had to have a very strong mindset, right? And if you didn't have that mindset to say, you know what, there's no answer to what I'm going to be walking through here. Is I'm going to move forward. right? And I'm going to have a very clear mindset to know that the fear is not going to go through my head, even though it's easier said than done. But going through what you went through, I'm sure you thought about that every single day. Like, how do you remove that fear when a doctor tells you you have 6 months to live?
Yeah.
Can you walk through that a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah, absolutely. So, we talk about this man, Nicholas Long. He was an instrumental part in my mindset. He opened my world to a gamified process of how to really take control of the things that you can control, and
Yes.
ultimately, in my belief, giving the rest to God, right? And so I've developed my mindset through some foundational pieces that he led me to, through some programs and mentorship that he was providing at that time. And so, what I did, honestly, Nancy, is I made a clear decision that I'm going to be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. And I was going to compound that effect every sinormal day. So tomorrow's a reset. I'm going to be a better version of that guy yesterday. And I did that. And I began this journey of peeling the layers of cancer off of me, the figurative forms. I had to deal with a deadly disease. But I
Mhm.
had deadly disease all over my life when it came to the self-talk, to the things that I was putting into my body, to the people I was
Yes.
allowing in my environment, to all of these things, right? That was really conditioned from the time that I was a kid.
Mhm.
The relationship that I had with myself, my internal
Mhm.
self-talk, the things that I knew that I would push away and be like, yeah, but I'll be okay because whatever excuses I had. So there's this process, and ultimately, through this process, I was able to shed a lot, and I was able to draw myself closer to God, and I was able to find a true relationship with Jesus, which was what I was looking for when I thought that I was looking for religion in a world to give me that peace. It was actually a relationship. And so I
Mhm.
found this relationship, and I began walking closer and closer, and it gave me this sense of security. And I've learned through the years, and if you follow me at all of the things that I introduce into my life, these are things that were designed for our body from the beginning of time, when man and woman were given to one another in this beautiful place called the Garden of Eden. Now we're
Right.
far removed from that garden, and now we live in the concrete jungle, and we've got pharmacies and drugstores and fast food restaurants on every corner, and we're taught to live a certain way. We're taught to go to the doctor to talk about our health, when health has already been designed for us by the big man upstairs. I mean, the closer we can get to natural raw ingredients from earth, is going to create the longevity. And so I just began a quest to find the best natural ingredients across the world that I can help boost my immune system. I went through 46 rounds of chemotherapy, 30 rounds of radiation, massive
Radiation.
amounts of
Mhm.
prescription drugs to take on all the side effects, because you enter this fight. We talk about the beginning, go into this wonderful place that I've heard of, and I'm trusting, and so they're like, you're going to have this side effect and this side effect and this side effect. So they're like, here's a prescription drug for that, and here's a prescription drug for that, and that story
Right.
perpetuates, right? And then when all of a sudden you go back to the doctor and say, hey, that symptom or that side effect, that drug's really not taking care of it. They're like, okay, well, we have another one that's
Another drug.
and it
Mhm.
continues and it continues, and then you develop more side effects, right?
Mhm.
So I was developing all these side effects, and I found myself at a time, Nancy, where I was like crying like a little baby in my wife's arms, and I'm a 6'5" man, and that's, she's got me in her arms, and I'm broken, and my whole body's just seized up, and from like being overly constipated and overly dehydrated from all of this onslaught of drugs, and then not eating right, because we're just told when we're fighting a disease like this, hey, you're going to have all these symptoms and side effects. One of them is going to be nausea and loss of appetite. So if anything sounds good, just eat it. We'll tell you to
Really?
be healthier, but it's just like, yeah, just eat what you want, because they're telling you you're not going to have an appetite. So whatever sounds good, just get it in, because it's better than nothing. And then they leave you at that. So that tells a guy
Right.
that's addicted to food, go have your cheese enchiladas and carne asada tacos after you're done doing chemo. And
You
those,
know, let
go ahead.
can we I don't mean to interrupt you, but let's talk a little bit about that, because people don't understand, like you said, what's going into our bodies because they keep giving you drugs, right? Because that's just, hey, here's one, here's another, here's another, here's another. And then you're thinking, okay, this must be normal. Now I'm really, declining. And so how do you stay focused? Like, we all want to eat healthy, right, Gary? So it always seems to be, it's a new year. Let's start exercising. Let's eat healthier. And then what ends up happening is you start that for a couple of weeks and then you get back to your regular habits. So, and it's just for, like, me as an experience. I was juicing, I was buying the juicing from you and all that stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And then what was hard is the rest of my family didn't, like, okay, why are you doing those juices? Not saying that don't do the juices. And then I was drinking the water and I felt like this was better. And there's people are saying, okay, really, does that really work? And to be honest with you, and as you are a testament to this, when you had cancer, you had to figure out a lot on your own. Absolutely. Right. And so that you investigated what was going to be powerful and curing to your own body. And you went for it. And I remember there was times where I saw you outside you had your what's it called? The
chemo pump. I got colostomy bag for the rest of my life. So you'll always see that on me, but I did have chemo pumps on me. I was all strapped up with stuff. Yeah.
But you were outside in your backyard, and I think you were like hitting or chopping up wood.
I was building my podcast studio, as a matter of fact. I ran a podcast for like a year, and I built a studio in my garage while on chemo.
Yes. And then when I looked at that, I'm like, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the food and the cannabis oils and what have you that you're putting into your body, that I would love for my audience to hear this is something like, how do you stay consistent with the good eating habits, the plant-based, the cannabis, the good water? Like, how do you keep your mind set on, I've got to eat healthy, I got to eat healthy, other than saying, if I don't, I could get this disease, right? But we never know. Only God knows what's in front of us. So can you kind of walk us through that piece?
Yeah. First of all, you have to be willing to unlearn everything you've been taught. We've been taught 5 food groups. We've been taught, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We've been taught all these things about how, Cheerios and eggs and bacon or whatever, like whatever the story is. We've been taught all these things, and we've been taught these family recipes that are so good and tasty, right? It's an unlearning process while you're learning, and it's not the reason why people fail in losing weight or whatever it is they're trying to do to get better health is because we're going to a diet trend. We're going to a pill or a quick program or whatever. What people have to understand is you have to start a journey of changing your lifestyle, and you have to develop a lifestyle that is serving you. Now, if you don't want to feel good, this conversation isn't for you. Like, just don't worry about it. Go ahead and keep hammering your body with carne asada tacos and a couple cocktails at night, and keep drinking the coffees all day long and energy drinks, and do that. But you'll continue to crash. You'll continue to have crappy sleep. You'll continue to gain weight. You'll continue to have arthritic pain, all this stuff. I was that guy. I was also 300 pounds, just under 300 pounds at the time of my diagnosis. I was addicted to all kinds of food. I was addicted to alcohol, cigarettes, all the bad things that we just get conditioned to think that it's okay when I'm young, but we develop these things and it becomes part of our life. So I had to break these habits. I had to train myself. And yes, it sucks to go through a process of unlearning and learning something new, especially when it comes to diet. There's all kinds of uncomfortable feelings that come along with changing your diet. If I take you from where someone is today, and they're eating a lot of animal, and they're doing this, and they're eating a lot of processed foods, and they're drinking a bunch of sugary drinks or even bottled water, and they're not eating living ingredients, there's going to be a 1 to 2, maybe even longer time, a week of a time period where it's going to suck a little bit. You're going to go through detox. You're going to get bubbly guts. You're going to feel like your body's rejecting stuff, rejecting the good things that that's what I always hear. Oh, my body doesn't want that celery juice, or my body doesn't like that superpower, or whatever it is, because they feel a certain way. But what I'm telling you is that these things are working for your body to exit the things that your body doesn't want to process, because we've been hammering it for years. As we're
and that doesn't happen overnight either.
No. It happens over time. You're looking at a man that's been on a 6-year journey. Like, I can't get somebody my results in a day or a month, or a 90-day period. What I teach people is a lifestyle, and I give them products that they can implement into their life right now to make a difference. Even if you just add my HeyerPower Wellness products, the juices, the cannabinoid protocol, sea moss, if you could do it, the water, those 4 things right there, you put those into your life, and then allow me to kind of teach you the truth about how your body is designed around nutrition, then we can start making some progress. We can actually build a battle plan that says, okay, we're going to make these progressions over the next week, over the next 2 weeks, over the next month. And we build out a game plan to go make it happen, to transform this lifestyle, so that in 90 days from now, your palate has been broken. You no longer are craving the sugary processed crap that's in the market, but now your body's actually craving my juices that your body once was telling you, ooh, that's gross. Because I hear it all the time. I didn't make my juices to compete with Ocean Spray or Nectar or Simply Juice or anything like that. Like, these are real juices made with like the best stuff on the planet. My superpower's got 17 superfoods in it. It's built to make a difference. And
it's not gross. It's not gross at all.
No, it's not. It's not.
It tastes good. It's all here, right? It's like, okay, how can I even put that? The only other thing would be maybe that sea moss might be a little different.
It's different. Like, to get the idea of trying to consume seaweed is like weird, right? But it's a plant that God gave us. It just happens to live underwater, which last time I checked, the sea and all that stuff's got incredible minerals. Like, if you can go in the ocean and soak up those minerals, it's incredible. Unless it's heavily polluted, but that's another story. But where we get our sea moss is the shores of Jamaica. It's right off the rocks. It's all sustainable. Like, this is the real deal stuff. Now, there's companies out there in America that are making sea moss, and they're making their sea moss in pools, and it's genetically modified, just like a lot of our other produce that's in the marketplace. So we have to be diligent to do our homework, check our sources, get the right stuff, make sure it's coming from the right regions of the world, all of the right things. Like, there's actual truth to that. There's actual truth to these things. So sea moss, for one thing, it's almost tasteless. It's just a gel that we've taken sea moss, we create a gel with it, send it to your doorstep, and you take a spoonful a day. Mix it in with your juice or your smoothie, you don't even taste it. It's incredible.
Really?
And it's got 92 of the 102 minerals that reside in our body. So you want to talk about like the success of what I've had. What's going on with chemotherapy, radiation, especially chemotherapy, is it really is destructive to the cellular structure of your body. Like, it doesn't just take on the cancer cells, it destroys everything. Or it makes a good effort to. So doesn't it seem like it would make sense to try and regenerate the good cells? So at the time of my diagnosis, I had 26 tumors that were in my body. And I've been in and out of remission and that type of stuff. But you got like 30 to 50 trillion cells in your body. I don't know what the exact number is, but that's a lot of zeros after the first number, right? So that's big army compared to 26, right? 26 versus 30 trillion. I'm going to empower these 30 trillion as much as I possibly can. And my doctors would tell me, hey, don't do those supplements, don't do this, and don't do that. And I'd listen to them at first. But then it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm feeling too good to stop doing the things that are making me feel good, even though I'm taking on chemotherapy. Because I saw where like my chemo cycles were 2 weeks apart. I'd do chemo for 2 days. That's why you saw me with a pump on. I would take it home with me. I'd be dripping chemo. And then for 2 weeks, I'd be off, and I'd go back at it again. And what would happen at the beginning of my fight is those windows of recovery got shorter and shorter, and it became just a solid life of toxicity. And that's why I started discovering other things. Like, the first thing was I got to eliminate prescription drugs, so enter cannabis. And I have a great team of people, a great team of experts around me that have taught me the truth about cannabis. It's not a drug. We should never have taught people that it's a drug or that it's devil's lettuce or
Yes.
anything like that. It is a God-given plant that actually has 130 to 150 cannabinoids that fuel the endocannabinoid system that resides in our body, that creates a stronger immune system, stronger neurological function. It removes inflammation from our body. It helps our pain receptors. There are hundreds of health benefits from nurturing your endocannabinoid system. And the best way to nurture it is with cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I
Mm-hmm.
don't need to get you blasted all day long with THC. And I know there's protocols out there with these different
Right.
oils to fight cancer that are really strong, THC heavy products. My products, we don't worry about those types of conversations. We give you the raw plant. And when you have the raw plant, the body responds to it different. We're not using any chemicals. It's just like treating it like a vegetable. I want to teach people how to integrate this plant into your daily lifestyle like a vegetable in your diet, and you're consuming it all day long. And that has changed my life. It eliminated 25 prescription drugs. It's empowered me to be the health, like that plant is so incredible. Not to mention all the others. I mean, I was completely plant-based for 4 years, and then I started learning about eating per your blood type, and that blew my mind. Because per your blood type, your body is designed to metabolize certain foods a certain way.
Makes sense. Makes
Right.
sense.
It does. It does. And if you read into it and you talk to somebody that actually knows what they're talking about, like more than I know what I'm talking about, and follow like these doctors that are teaching this stuff, it does make sense a lot. And so like I was plant-based. I'm A positive, my blood type.
Mm-hmm.
An A blood type is perfect for plant-based nutrition. But there are some fish that's really like medicine for my body. So what this discovery is it introduced fish back into my life when I hadn't had it for 4.5 years. Red meat
Mm-hmm.
is horrible for A blood types. So red meat, pork, all that stuff, completely stay away from it, right? Where I was eating carne asada tacos and burgers every day for like 40 years of my life, right?
Wow.
But my blood type says no red meat, period, hard stop, no, don't do it. Here's another thing though, is I was eating a banana and an orange every single day for 4.5 years while I was plant-based before I knew about blood type eating. Per my blood type, my body doesn't metabolize bananas and oranges very well at all. And it actually is on my no list. Do not eat these. So I
Wow.
was like, okay, well, I'll eliminate those. I'll eliminate some of these other things. And as I'm eliminating some of the things that are not good for my body, and I'm starting to add back things into, or concentrating more on the things that are very good for my body, things started to change again. So
Mm-hmm.
what I'm trying to tell and try and get to here in this big story is like, this is an evolution of a lifestyle that needs to be continually nurtured and learned about and understood. You're different than I'm different. Even an A positive person may be a little bit different than and your lifestyle may look a little bit different, but there's these foundational pieces, water being number one. Like we all need to be drinking living water. Unfortunately, we live in a world that is filled with bottled water and this filtered water stuff that comes through our faucets or whatever that we get into. But
Can we talk about that really quick? Because I
yeah,
remember you doing when I was drinking the water and you did the test, and even like the most expensive bottled waters out there, I was blown away. And I remember showing my family, you know, you're looking at the Arrowhead water and all these like Afina and everything else. And you're like, wow. And then if
yeah,
you think about it, it's sitting in water in a plastic bottle, right? And right. And a lot of the plastic bottles are reusable,
right,
right? So that in itself, the water is amazing because we need to flush out all of that stuff out of our body, like you
correct.
say, drinking that water and how much water. And so through your website, Gary, do you have because I know you expanded quite
Yeah,
a lot from the last time that I was getting juices and what have you. So it's still the cannabis oils, because I was taking those cannabis oils for my audience out there, and to me it wasn't gross. you just put a couple drops in, and I felt energized. I was sleeping better, because, I'm fully menopaused and I was running into the issues. And remember me telling you, it's
Yeah.
like, how am I going to sleep? So the oils were definitely something that I know it worked for me, and the juices were phenomenal, but I know that you were working on additional things.
Yeah.
So what else did you add to your business?
Okay, so right now we're in a transitional period where we're going to go from about 7 different SKUs to like 25. We're going to add to the line. We're going to be doing functional mushrooms. We're going to have a kombucha. We're going to increase the cannabis line to where I have a bigger library, all under my brand. I have access to these things now, but we're putting it all under HeyerPower Wellness. So that's all coming and fun, and it'll be here by Q1 of 24. All the R&D's done. We're just kind of getting it going. So that's all happening. There's great resources on my website right now of the things that we offer. So it's the juices. I got 3 juices really. 2 of them are like my staple ingredients. It's the celery detox and the superpower. 1 of each per day keeps the doctor away. I don't think juicing should be used in short sprints. I don't like the juicing cleanses of just juicing for like 3 days and then going back to your lifestyle. This is kind of what we were talking about earlier, is like, why do people keep falling off of this stuff? Because we're teaching people these short sprints, and that there's this quick pill that's going to take care of your problem, or this quick cleanse that's going to take care of your problem. And that's the biggest lie in the marketplace. So if you're being told that, run away and just go find a way that you're going to implement these types of things into your lifestyle. Juicing's huge, right? And there's supplements that are great, but we need to find the things that are best for your daily regimen, because this cellular structure likes to regenerate. We're a regenerating being, and our those trillions of cells regenerate every 30 to 45 days or so. And during that regeneration process, the greatest battery and fuel for that, to do it the right way, to make sure that our good army is strong enough to eliminate the bad army, because we all got cancer cells in us. And
Correct.
Theoretically, like really, most of us have cancer cells that go out of whack within that regeneration process. But we do have a strong enough immune system to knock them out for the most part. But if we're hammering our bodies with these things that we have access to in this world, like we've been talking about, these processed foods and different things, it's going to make it harder for our body to snuff out the bad stuff. So anyway, these products have come together as lifestyle pieces. You talked quickly about the water and understanding the difference between like alkaline water in a bottle and the alkalinity in living water. And it's a really important conversation, because we're talking about like flushing our cellular structure of our body, which is where inflammation lives, which is where disease lives, which is where acidosis is at. All of the things that cause problems in our life: sleepless nights, bad skin problems, overweight, cholesterol issues, like all this imbalance that's happening in our life is really coming down to how our body is being flushed and process. So water is the main component of that. The problem is that we're spending money on the Essenzias of the world, the Fiji waters, the smart waters, right? Because we think, oh, it's expensive. It says it's 9.5. It's got great marketing because Essentia says it's overwhelming H2O. The only thing that's overwhelming is the amount of chemicals that they're putting in these products. Okay. So for one, they've been sitting in these plastic bottles for 6 to 8 months. Okay. That's bad. Number two, in order for them to control the pH in a water so that in 6 to 8 months, when you pour it out of that bottle, it actually has a pH of 9.5 that they're promising you, they have to put these chemicals in there, because living water has true alkalinity. Okay. But water only lives for 5 days. Okay, so what's the difference between living water and dead water? It's a great question. So living, it's the molecular structure of it. It's the micro clusters of these molecules that actually will penetrate the cells of our body and do what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to flush the cells. It's supposed to do, hydrate us with antioxidants and electrolytes that's natural from a living water, not added by chemicals. So living water, day one, these microclusters have 5 to 9 molecules per cluster, very, very, very small. But in 5 days, these things migrate together, and now they've got 35 to 45 molecules per cluster. So we're used to, as a culture, as a society here in America, drinking dead water, because frankly, none of us are going to a healthy living stream, let alone a living stream, to find this living water, right? So how do we get it? We can't get it through our bottles. So we have to have a machine similar to a defibrillator. If a human being has a heart attack, what's the first thing the paramedics do? Hook you up and plug you up and try and revitalize you through electric voltage. That's exactly the same process that we need to do with our water. In order to bring it back, it needs to be filtered. But at the end of being filtered in this equipment that I have access to and that you can have in your home as well, it will bring the water back to life. It'll shock it back to life, breaking up that molecular structure. So now when I drink a glass of water, it doesn't just travel down my esophagus and sit in my stomach until I want to pee it out. It actually penetrates the cells of my body and my neck and in my chest. All like it's just penetrating the cells. So I can now drink I drink 2 gallons of water a day. When I first started working with you, I was about a gallon of water a day. And that was a lot for me, right? But
I remember you telling me, it's like, okay, you used to bring the gallon. And I'm like, Gary, how am I going to drink this gallon of water? That's a lot of water. I'll be sitting on the toilet the whole entire time. But go ahead. Go do it. Because it's a lot. It's a lot of water.
And you may at first, right? Because the process of drinking a real living water, it's going to make you pee more at first because it's flushing your body out. You're going to be flushing toxins everywhere. And even switching to a living water can help you flush through your colon and all that stuff too. It'll cause diarrhea. So it causes this detoxification process at some level, and everybody's a little bit different. But as you drink living water and you commit to it, and it's something that's part of your body, it will be part of your body. So you're going to drink it and you're not going to feel bloated. When you drink a lot of water, when somebody's really thirsty and they're like, oh, I'm drinking all this water, you get that bloated feeling.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people do. And that's because it's dead water. It's not penetrating the cells of your body. It's going down into your holding tank and it's expanding the holding tank because it's not penetrating cells. And then it's going to just flush out. By the way, while it's sitting in there, it's full of toxins, plastic, forever chemicals from plastics, the chemicals to make it alkaline. And they're telling you that it's healthy, that these chemicals are okay for you because it's sodium bicarbonate, magnesium bicarbonate, stuff like that, which is basically baking soda, right? That's what they're using to alkaline this water and keep it alkaline. The problem is that we're drinking it in abundance, right? Now that we're drinking all this alkaline water, thinking it's healthy. And what's happening is now we're finding that it's actually being detrimental to our livers. We're finding more fatty livers than ever before in people. And fatty livers lead to liver disease and liver cancer and all that great stuff, right? And it's directly related to this alkaline water. And I'm using these quotes because alkaline water in the store is not alkaline, it's fake. And if you go on my Instagram page, up at the top right corner of on my profile is that video. I think that maybe one that you're talking about, where I actually do the comparisons between all of the pH waters that are in the marketplace and this living water. And I'll blow through these straws into this water when you see that it's perfect, like pH, it's the right color, it matches my living water. And you're like, yeah, but Gary, it's the right pH. As soon as the acidic environment in my body through the air that I'm breathing through a straw hits that water, it turns to acidic right away. So imagine that's what it's doing inside of our body. That's the truth of what we're dealing with out there. And water is the foundation of life. It really is. If you look at the earth, if you look at the plants that grow from it, and you look at the human body, we are all, including the earth, 70% water. Look at the ratio. It's incredible.
It's true because I remember years ago, I think, gosh, I landed in the hospital 8 years ago. And I was the type of person that, and a lot of us do this, my car would just drive to Starbucks and I would drink a caramel macchiato. And I would keep that on my desk when I was working in corporate America. And that's all I drank. I did not drink any water. I hated water, didn't drink it. And then next thing you know, I got extremely sick, my kidneys, my blood, like everything. And I landed in the hospital. And I remember, this is a story that is quite powerful. I remember because I didn't drink water, my husband used to say, honey, you need to drink water. You're not drinking any water. Oh, I don't need any water. When I went through the hospital and my veins were collapsing because I was dehydrated. And when they did a test on me and they injected dye into my body, Gary, I felt like my body, someone just caught me on fire. Like I felt like fire going through my whole body. And it hurt so bad that I screamed and they couldn't stop. But so the story of this is Gary is 100% correct, not only to cure our bodies, right? But water is important. Without that water, and it's not like just the coffee, but it's the sugar juices that we put in our body and what have you, that is not good. And I do that too. So, the amazing story that you are sharing with us, Gary, is no different than, and how you mentioned it before when Nick was helping you on the mindset. There's no different on the mindset in living the life that we desire, where God put us on this earth to live in abundance. It's the same way as going in and treating your body and taking care of your body and eating and drinking things that are healthy and good for you, that are natural and organic, is the same way as leading your life with abundance, with the clear mindset, with the self-confidence, removing those limiting beliefs. And it's so, we can talk about it forever until you step into that journey and live the life that you deserve.
Yeah.
So how would you give one powerful advice of just how do you just step into that? Like baby steps, one step.
Sure. Take my story and use it for inspiration, but don't just sit there and be inspired and do something. You got to do something about it. So you got to put yourself in a frame of mind. Like my life shift changed when my life was on the line, right?
Yes.
Like I had to make some changes in my life. I knew, and I found out that my disease wasn't genetic. It was completely the environment that I created. So I had to change my whole life. I had to figure that if I was going to survive, it had to be changed. So what I'm trying to say is, like, you just have to make a clear decision that you want better for yourself. You got to realize that the truth of the matter is the human body was not designed 200 years ago. It was
Correct.
designed thousands of years ago, and that design has not changed. And only 200 years ago did big pharma make their push in this medical world, right? Again, I'm not here to bash medicine and the world of what we need. It's needed in many levels. And I needed chemotherapy in my journey, and radiation and prescription drugs, and the surgeries that I had. They've removed organs from my body. I am so thankful for my journey through Western medicine. And I'm thankful because it also showed me the dirtiness of it, the dark side of it, and the fact that they do not teach us about nutrition. And I believe that they empower our doctors in a way to teach us a certain thing about health and wellness, being you got to do what we say because this is the standard
The
of
only
care.
way.
The only way. Look, medicine is crisis care. Okay. If you're looking for better health, you need to start looking inside. You need to start figuring out where are you spending your time in the grocery store? Is it in the 35 aisles of processed foods? Or is it in the small little section of produce and the fresh meats area? Like, look, I'm not even going to bash the meat stuff. I think that even like O-type blood type is really good for me. Like they thrive off of red meat. Now, does that mean I want you to go be a carnivore and just eat nothing but red meat? No, absolutely not. I don't think our body was designed for that. We've got like 29 feet of intestines that this meat has to travel through, that really it has a hard time breaking up. So it lives us in a long time. So what my whole message is this: look, make a decision that you deserve a better future. You deserve better results. Your family deserves you providing better results. Your employers or your employees deserve you providing better results. You cannot be there for anybody unless you're healthy.
100%.
Healthy-minded, healthy in your body. And you know when you're not healthy. Everybody knows. If you're needing a jolt of energy halfway through the day, there's a chance that you're doing it wrong. You're not fueling your body right. If you need it. Now, if you're having a cup of coffee because you like it, it's another topic. But if you're doing an energy drink or whatever, just to get you through the day so you can get home and hammer your body with a big meal and just lay on the couch and veg
Veg.
out.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it wrong. You're killing yourself. And ultimately it will catch up to you. If it doesn't do it right now and you're in your 30s, fine. You know, you think that you're invincible. I'm telling you, you're not. I was a high performing athlete. I took all of the bad habits that I took when I learned when I was a young boy of just eat more because you're going to run it off. You're a growing boy, all this stuff, right?
Right.
No. So we have to be willing to unlearn what we've learned throughout the years. We have to be willing to go against the grain. What I'm teaching you is not standard of care. It's not what mainstream is telling you. It's not what your families and your friends are going to support, because it's going to make them uncomfortable. Because if they start seeing you change, that means that they're going to have to change, and change is uncomfortable. But get comfortable being uncomfortable, or else you're going to
100%.
have to learn this while fighting for your life. And I promise you, you do not want to do that. I'm lucky. I'm
Mhm.
lucky in the fact that I was able to put this stuff together in the timing that I did. And I've been blessed with a second chance at life. And I'm not going to take it for granted. And I'm going to work my tail off for the rest of my life, fine tuning my lifestyle, adding more to it to get more. You see behind me, all those things right there, those are things that I take all day, every day, different mushrooms and leaves, extracts and herbs and all the things. And it becomes something where like we're chasing that feel good, chase the feel good. You deserve it. Everybody can feel better. I'm still trying to do it, and I'm
Yeah.
every single day, and I'm still pushing the envelope. I'm still trying to learn more because there's so much out there. There's so much out there. Look, they say, what is the one thing that you could do to fight cancer, or all stuff like this? See this book right here?
Just
These
reading.
are
Yeah.
all different modalities and different concepts of ways to fight cancer.
Mhm.
Step outside the box. You gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable.
To
You
get
gotta be willing to unlearn the
Yep.
bull crap that you've been so committed to, and saying, this is life. I got it figured out. Just because grandma's recipe tastes good. We gotta
And
get away
then
from
100%. And then once you start it, then you start to get comfortable with it, and then that's your change of your lifestyle. You know, it's anything in our lives, but we tend to keep on the negative and the bad side because that's what we know. So I
Whoever
hope
wants us
that
stuck, Nancy. Like
I know.
I'm purely convinced we're stuck in what's comfortable. And this world is filled with comfort, from the stuff that we're getting through our televisions, through the stuff that we're getting in the grocery store, through all this stuff. Like we weren't designed for this. We were
No.
designed to live a certain way off of living foods. And yes, you can have your splurges, but I want to see 7/8 of your diet being fresh, living foods. There's
Mhm.
no excuse why we shouldn't. And it's not that expensive. Because I'll tell you this, I'll tell you why it's not expensive. It's expensive at first because your body needs to keep up with the volume of what you're putting into your body, right? Like we're used to
Right.
hammering our body with things that it doesn't break down easily, so it doesn't digest and it's staying in there, but we continue to hammer on top of it, right? So the process is going to be this learning curve, and it might be a little more expensive at first because you're having to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. But what
Uh-huh.
happens over time is your body becomes adjusted to the nutrient intake, the phytonutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the cannabinoids, the antioxidants. And that is what fuels your energy. That is what fuels your mental clarity. So it's not about the quantity, it's the quality of the fuel that
Quality.
you put in. And that is what I teach people. And the more time that people give me and they give themselves for them to learn and develop a lifestyle, it becomes magical. I got so
And then
many
you
clients
feel
that love it.
and you feel in your body, you feel clean. You don't feel dirty or stuck, and things just flow
Yeah.
clean. And I wanted to let my audience know too is I got the juicer, and going to the store and buying all the stuff and then putting the juice in. Then you have to clean and everything. Advice is it's so much easier to have it delivered at your front door. It's done, and it's easy. You put it in your refrigerator, and if you need to take it before you go to work, you just grab it and go, and or put it in your little ice chest or whatever it is. It's tasty. It's phenomenal.
Thank you.
You feel clean, and I'm a testament of that, and I'm so very grateful to be part of your journey, to know you and experience the juicing, because it is amazing. It's a beautiful story, Gary. And one last thing is, and then you still do your follow-ups, right? So then when you're going, again, testimony is when you're going through the doctors and the checkups, and it comes back and it's clear, like that means you're doing something right. It does work. So
Yeah, so it's been a magical ride. I mean, there's been in and out of remission, like I've talked about, and a couple years ago, there was some spots that popped up, some very, very small spots at the original time that we found them. I mean, they're the size of like 1 millimeter, which is the tip of a sharpened
tiny,
pencil,
tiny.
right? Like really small. So we've been watching these things, and we've been doing some stuff. And there was a time 6 months ago where there was some stuff happening in there that my doctor didn't like, and he's like, I think we should jump into chemotherapy and get back into that. And I had made a decision at that time to put that on hold, because again, they were small. I was feeling really good, like I'm really healthy, and I was not ready to take on another round of chemo, let alone indefinitely, whatever he was saying that I was going to have to do. So I said, look, let me try and do this other stuff that I've been thinking about. I was blessed to be able to get an opportunity to work with frequency and ozone and these different types of modalities that have been studied for centuries. But they're very expensive. But I was gifted this opportunity at a time right when I was being told that I should go back into chemo. And so we stopped the progression of what was happening. And the technology that I'm using, I believe, and this is why I say I'm cancer free, and my doctor won't quote unquote say those official terms yet,
Right.
because we're still seeing these spots. I believe that the spots are scar tissue, because some of the technology that I'm using, along with my program of juicing and the cannabinoids and the water and all that stuff, the cellular regeneration thing, we change the polarity, the voltage of these negative cells that once were considered cancer. And that's why they haven't moved in 6 months. When they were kind of progressing, we stopped them. So I believe they're actually scar tissue. And my doctor's in there. I just met with him last week. We did some more scans, and again, they've stayed the same. And he's like, Gary, I think what you're telling me is the truth. Like, I believe everything that you're doing is working, and your scans are proving it. And so we're in control of the fight naturally. We've been in control of the fight naturally. It feels amazing. There's a version of this story for everybody. I believe that, especially with advanced stage cancer, I believe that there could be a combination of the two that's most advantageous. Everybody's a little bit different. How you're going to react to chemo might be different than how I react. How you adjust to a natural lifestyle might be different than how I adjust. The beautiful thing is I've helped hundreds of people across the country in this type of lifestyle to take on Western medicine and to bring these type of modalities into their life and utilize them both, so we can ultimately work towards stretching out those needs and for the use of prescription drugs and stuff like that. We can empower the body a different way. So yes, it's amazing to be able to go in there and get this news, because I've had such bad news over the stretch of 4 to 5 years or so. But over the last couple of years, it's been a stretch of good news, a little bit of drama in between. You can't have a life without a little bit of drama, but we're in control, and it feels amazing. And my doctor is just so proud, because he was a guy that was saying, don't waste your money on that water machine. Don't, eat what you want. And, if you want to try that cannabis stuff, go ahead, but find somebody you could trust. And it was that type of like nonchalant, you can do what you want, but I wouldn't advise that. Don't do those supplements, because it's going to interfere with the effectiveness of chemo. And the more I learn, I'm like, so what's the effectiveness of chemo? Like, not very good. From the last time I checked, the statistics show it's actually pretty horrible, but it's standard of care. And we're scared into the fact that that's the only thing that we should be doing. I want to be that beacon. I want to be that lighthouse saying, look, there can be a different way. You can have better results. And it doesn't mean that you have to be fighting cancer to earn those better results. You could be earning better results, just like, Nancy here, that's just trying to find better results in life. And lo and behold, we can. God created us to live this way, and to have access to living ingredients. And that's the secret to life, I believe.
And it's, and listen to, for my audience, it's like listening to your own intuition. If something is just not right, listen to it. and don't fear, don't let anybody tell you different, and just listen to your own intuition. It's very powerful. You had a very powerful story, and that, it goes hand in hand again, is what I teach to empower people and and have them feel fulfilled, and then the life of what you lead and what you're putting in your body is so very powerful. So Gary, can you let the audience know, like, where can they find you?
Very active on Instagram. So Instagram, you can find me at HeyerPower Wellness. As you see on the screen, my last name is Heyer, Heyer. So when you spell out HeyerPower, spell it the right way, Heyer. So HeyerPower Wellness on Instagram. I'm very active there. I respond usually within the day to everybody. HeyerPowerWellness.com. You can check out the website. There's great information there. You can find my products. You can purchase my products there. You can learn about the water through my website. There's a link in the menu that says Living Water. I would suggest go there, and that takes you to my water website. And then there's also HeyerPowerFoundation.org. So through this journey, Nancy, I've helped a lot of people.
Beautiful.
And I have found that one of the major side effects that keep people from living a healthy life and introducing this stuff into their fight is the financial side effects. And so I made it my mission over the last several years, on the back of the profits that we've made through the wellness business, we've been pouring back into the cancer community. So every dollar that's spent with HeyerPower Wellness, there is a portion of those proceeds that go straight back into other people's fight. And we've been giving to all kinds of people across the country. It's been an amazing journey. But I needed to up the ante. I need to get like some corporate people behind this. I need to get somebody out there that's really got some financial abundance, that says, you know what, we're going to make a difference in people's cancer fight, and we're going to give you an ability to get a tax write-off for us. So we've got the 501c3, the HeyerPower Foundation, where we're going to go out and support these warriors on the front line. We're going to give them access to all the products that I have. We're actually working in the future to have a full-blown state-of-the-art wellness compound where we'll bring people in, we'll treat them for free. It'll be a membership, so there will be an opportunity for you healthy people that want to be a member of this type of club. So there's so much fun stuff coming about, but you can find me on Instagram or my 2 websites, and I'd love to talk to you and help you in your journey, no matter where you're at.
Thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story and being very honest and upfront. And Gary, it's a pleasure knowing you. And for all my listeners, thank you so much for listening to my podcast, Empower with Nancy. And with gratitude, Nancy Davidson and Gary Heyer.
Absolutely. Thank you.